Всем привет! Мы продолжаем прохождение Masquerada Songs and Shadows. В прошлой части мы создали Фея и видели много гадостей. Продолжаем наше прохождение. Итак, что у нас здесь? У нас какие-то новые чернила. Нет, у нас нет новых чернил. Тогда есть. Да, чернил больше. Ладно, пока ничего не будем менять. И пойдем дальше по своим делам на миссию.
Where to, sir? The Hall of Songs, please.
Мореход идет с нами, это очевидно. Возьмем дамажущую девочку. Да, давайте возьмем ее. В этот раз не было картинки, когда они едут по городу черной тенью. Ну ладно. Диалогов не было. Тут ничего нет. Тут довольно большая улочка. Интересно.
Cicero. If things do not go well inside,
I will not abandon you.
it's not that. I need you to know how grateful I am for everything that you've already done.
We'll be fine, Calden.
And this is his brother's?
Yes, head matron. I spoke with Mirabas after Calden had visited the hall some days ago. She told me that his brother had intended this for him.
He rarely spoke of this brother of his.
Of course. His family likely was too ashamed to call him their blood. Their chimes would be in jeopardy.
As they are in your hands?
Ah, Calden. It's a pleasure to see you.
Likewise, head matron.
And Inspectore Gavar, it's been a while.
Head matron?
Now, Mariner, you are aware of the reason you have been called here?
I have my suspicions.
Your sleeve, then, if you will.
Matron, if I might have a...
Your sleeve, Calden. There, matron. It is true.
What is true, exactly?
Matron, I spoke of this earlier. That tattoo is proof that...
That what? Answer me precisely, if you would.
What do you mean?
Calden
Она ее
has a tattoo,
разделывает.
and I do not see anything unusual about art on the skin.
But that tattoo is evidence that he deserves to be punished.
For what? Precisely.
He is Talios.
And is that my business, or is it his?
You are defending him.
As a matron should, for her own people.
This is against the laws of society.
Society governs those laws, songstress. And as the leader of a large part of that society, I choose to stand by this man.
This... No.
Orlana! Calden! Zelia,
I will call for Mirabas.
thank you.
Она откуда побежала? Это Матрона, почтеннейшая. Так, а давайте посмотрим, что здесь есть. Ничего. Жалко, тут нет спринта. Хотя мы и так бежим.
Orlana, please.
Stay back!
Please, Orlana, put the chime down.
Do not tell me what to do, beast! You corrupted my brother!
Listen to me, please.
How did you defile his mind?
I did not.
Liar! You must have fed him something, given him some poison to turn him into a beast like you!
I did no such thing.
He was my brother, and you took him away from me! I loved him!
As did I. You speak of poisons and defilement and treachery. The truth is far simpler. I loved him.
But you took him away from me. You took away my brother and replaced him with something else.
That is not true. He was always the same romantic, sentimental man that you grew up with. This doesn't change that. If there is a reason to be angry at me, it is because I was a coward. It was because of my fear of being honest about who I was, about what we were, that stopped me from giving him the support that he needed. When he needed it the most, I shouldn't have abandoned him. But I did. And I am sorry.
Sorry isn't going to bring my brother back.
Orlana!
И он за ней не бежит. Интересно.
Something is wrong.
Действительно.
Calvin, the chime!
Help me, Cicero!
Cicero!
Matron, she was hit hard.
She will require extensive healing. Her pulse is barely there. I must take her down now, or she will not survive.
Go, Zelia. We'll handle this.
Почему я так стукнула?
Something is wrong. It is never this aggressive. What happened?
Orlana tried to feed it the chime, but it attacked her.
Attacked her? Ages. It's out of control. And the chime?
It took it.
Then it's feeding off the song. We need to kill it. We cannot afford to let it remain like this.
What about the chime?
If we are quick enough, the song might survive. Sisters, prepare yourselves. I hope you're ready, Cicero.
As I'll ever be.
Обойти нельзя.
So the storm begins.
Так, сейчас что здесь? Кольцо атмоса. Метка огня накладывается. Активирует метки стихий, а мне, в общем-то, особо и нечем метки-то активировать. Так, Чичера... Надо бы отбежать в сторону. Так, ты можешь тоже активировать. Вот, у тебя ады есть. Интересно. Вот, метки я почти ничем не вешаю. Готово.
No! No.
Он разбился.
Thank you, Cicero. That Fae, Aegis knows what happened to it.
I've always wondered why you songstresses wanted to keep people out.
That isn't the reason. For all the centuries the singing tree has been here, it's never acted like this. Oh,
What are you thinking?
something is happening. Something that we cannot see, that is on a level beyond us. It frightens me to wonder what it might be.
Indeed.
But it is settled, at least for now. As for other matters...
He's a good man, Mirabas. Saved Orlana when he could have saved the song.
And now that song is gone forever.
You will consider my request, though?
Society will not change, even if I do this, Cicero.
I'm not asking for it to. But please, even you can tell that he is deserving of better.
Perhaps I am being blinded by tradition, but I suppose I can do this. As a favor to him for saving the life of my songstress, even if she might not have been quite so generous.
Thank you, Mirabas.
I will tend to it now. I'll be back shortly.
How are you feeling?
The head matron has decided to leave the sail heart in my care. There's great consolation in that.
Calden, will you face me, please? Why? Tell me, Calden. Please.
Она же тяжело ранена.
Jax has taught me that.
When I went to the Sail Heart, there were children there. Did they call Jax as their father?
They do,
Could I meet them?
of course.
That would be nice. I think I'll see you around.
I know it's not Razatov, but...
Take your heart, take my hand. I will lead you through storm and fire. The blood may thin, the bow may break, but our cradle will e'er be shared. The wound will heal, the songs will ring, and soon again will your spirit sing. Take my heart, take your hand. I await you in promised land.
All right, big man.
Интересно, как Ролан так быстро встала на ноги? Ей же нужно было серьезное лечение. Какой ребенок? А если подойти еще раз? Ничего. странно. Да, этот ребенок кажется смутно знакомым. Головой Чичера. Чичера, оно очень странное. Так. Еще мне нужно больше способностей, которые активируют метки. Вешают метки. Провокация. Вот, фурор, это интересно. Он создает метку воды. Я не хочу делать тебя танком, давайте оплот. Давайте возьмем оплот и давайте возьмем удар волны. И здесь можно что-то еще доучить. Да, концентрация у нас вроде бы есть. Поэтому, ладно, концентрации хватает. Да будет так. Ну, а тебя что по меткам? Активирует метки стихий. Иллюзия высокой степени угрозы. А вот эта штука вешает метку земли. $40 урона. $50 урона. На этого одного. Допустим, так. И у Чичера. Что здесь? Давайте более быстрый заряд маски. И пойдемте отсюда дальше. Седьмая кантата. И 8-я кантата. Идем дальше.
Rise, my brethren. It is found.
Is your face all right? You haven't stopped smiling since we left the hall.
It's just... all my life I've lived in fear, and now... you've changed my life, Cicero.
Oh, come now. I didn't do...
You showed me that even in a city of secrets and shadows, the truth has a place in our hearts and is worth fighting for. I know the city isn't going to change because of what we've done, and the Hall of Songs probably isn't going to sail to different winds overnight. But you've made a difference, Cicero. In my life, at least. Know that.
I think I might have needed this ordeal as much as you.
Come on. Let's see if our Fae friend is back.
Интересно, что там нашли наши недрузья.
Tower. It's not sharp with spires. It's more of a tall dome.
Что с
What's
глазами?
going on?
Keep going. Salting. I can't believe I hadn't seen this earlier.
You've lost me.
It was the key to understanding Dementica. Adaran Vamus, the first man who salted and retained a portion of his mind, could, during his lucid moments, read, write, and speak Dementica, just like Vasco. He was the cornerstone upon which all research into the language was based.
What are you saying?
I'm saying it's a bridge. Salting connects the two souls, the two minds, the two spirits, whatever you want to call them. And it happens when we use the Masquerine's powers too strongly, tap too deeply into another soul.
So they're connected?
Exactly. And now, all the stories of the past are at our fingertips. Imagine all that we could learn now that we understand this connection.
Right. So what's the poor bloodling done to deserve this?
Vasco's claimed that he's had a few memories that seem to have been left over by the Dementicate, who'd been his Masquerine. He thinks he can see what the city might have looked like. We're trying to replicate it.
Remember, bulbous.
I think I've got it.
And that's it?
Let me see. What does it look like? I don't quite know what to make of it.
Vasco.
I can make out a long tower over there, but...
Amadea, that's not a tower. That's a man, with his trousers down. That's his...
Vasco! Will you please take this seriously?
I only see vague images. Nalior, not enough for anything substantial.
I suppose it was worth a try. Rotten swine, you.
Well, now that everything's settled down, I think we've kept our questions in the shadows for long enough.
About the sunken star. Right.
Интересно, что эта девушка была с нами, и она успела нарисовать картину.
First we learn that Masquerines are Dementicate, and now you're telling me that they're Fae as well.
It makes sense. The increase in the mists in the recent years corresponds with the destruction of the hundreds of Masquerines in the War of Bearings.
This is incredulous, Inspectore. The Fae have been around since time immemorial, and no one has managed to learn where they've come from.
Until now. Think about it, Marshal. Masquerines and Fae. Two things that have existed before the city was even built. Is it really so surprising that they're related?
And Lucia was led by one of them?
Is. If I could get out of there alive, I'm certain she made it through as well. But, yes. She's being led by a Fae they call the Lady. Being Dementicate, she has knowledge of the world that we haven't even glimpsed.
You said she's trying to stop another cataclysm from occurring.
She mentioned something about uniting the city, bringing the artifacts together. She handed me some scrolls about Dementicate history to read, but I haven't had the time.
Well, now we do. It's not a long record. It explains the downfall of their civilization. In summary, the single event that served as the pivot for the success of their empire was a civil war.
So,
Sounds familiar.
What was this war about?
The artifacts. For a long time, they were used by the Dimenticate to push the boundaries of their empire.
Which supports what we found at the Conoscenza.
But it couldn't last forever.
Not with the way the artifacts worked.
Calden!
The way they worked. Inspectore.
I'm sorry, Marshal. The artifacts were what were responsible for turning the souls of the Dimenticate into Masquerades. They created the Dimenticate's power.
And everyone knows this?
Marshal, I wanted to tell you.
Carry on.
Tiziana...
Stop wasting my time. How did the Dimenticate fall?
When the artifacts were received by the Dimenticate, they initially sacrificed their prisoners to create the Masquerades. When their empire expanded, they began to turn to ordinary men and women instead. As you can imagine, that did not end well.
Uprisings?
Exactly. Their empire was cleaved in two, those who wanted to continue using the artifacts, and those that demanded that they be kept away, saying that it cost them too much.
Well, the artifacts are nowhere to be found, so I assume the latter faction won?
Correct. And that is when their empire began to crumble. Without the powers of the artifacts, they couldn't stand against the chaos of the world.
Chaos?
It isn't explained exactly what it was, but I think it is safe to assume that it's related to the Cataclysm.
If these scrolls don't mention what the Cataclysm is, then why does Lucia believe another is in store for us?
I don't know. But what I do know is that she believes that she needs to unite the city, and she intends to do that by overthrowing the registry.
Вот и Фэй.
Just on time.
Kadik?
Assemblia.
Arish?
Assemblia.
The Assemblia.
It wants us to go to the Altus.
The Misted Isles.
Ah, of course.
I'm sorry, I don't follow.
The Misted Isles, a set of monuments left behind by the Dimenticate. The Altus built the Assemblia around it to keep people out. Vasco, what's on these monuments that it wants us to see? Can't it just tell us what's on it?
Avar?
Don Sivnia. Santa. Atavar.
No. They're guarded, and he doesn't remember precisely. But he promises they're important.
It's all right. At least now we have a lead.
Tiziana should go with you. The relationship between the Altus and the Luca is the strongest of all between the Semora. It might help ease our way in.
Well...
Do I smell hesitation?
Fine.
Better get ready then.
Каждый компаньон имеет, похоже, свой момент славы, когда он поет с нами. Чтобы мы пользовались всеми, а не одним постоянным отрядом. Ну ладно. Что здесь?
Ages. It makes so much sense.
Talking to yourself again?
Just thinking about the behavior of the Fae. The way they respond to the old world, like the Kilgan and the Cleaver, so careful not to touch the relics. Or those in the pin drop, and the way they shied away from the statue of their god. I always thought they exhibited such strange behaviors because of some inherent power in the relics or something. But they must remember that the items were part of their world. For all I know, the Kilgan could have been my custodial predecessors thousands of years ago.
You're rather quick to humanize them. I don't think most Fae remember who they once were.
Not fully, perhaps, but there is a sliver of humanity in each. That's what the Scythe are. Fragments of humanity used as a seed for the Fae to be born out of. It might be merely a fragment, true, but still. I shouldn't let this get too much in the way. We have work that needs to be done, and I'm sure there'll be time. Later.
Так.
Marshal,
Inspectore.
you know why I did what I did.
I do. It's because you don't trust me.
I trust you perfectly fine. Your guild, on the other hand.
After all this time, you still don't see it.
I'm sorry?
I am my guild, Inspectore. With hindsight, I suppose I should have made that clearer. Might have spared us both some inconvenience.
Это моя гильдия. Ну, ничего себе заявление. Точнее, моя гильдия это я. Кальден.
About earlier.
I suppose she had to find out eventually.
My mind has just been so overwhelmed. Keeping secrets seemed like the least of our concerns, especially now with tides.
What's bothering you?
Lucia. She's being led by a demented Kate who's been around longer than all our legacies combined. It just worries me what we're standing up against.
We've come this far, haven't we?
I suppose we have.
То есть из-за желтый круг. С тобой поговорить.
Oh, you're looking much better.
Time heals. I'll be all right, eventually. I have something to show you.
Wait. That's... Javs?
It has been a while.
I cannot believe this. All these years.
You're hurt. I'm sorry, but I couldn't jeopardize my new life.
Your life with the Laboris?
It seemed the best way to find out who it was that killed my parents.
And it's paid off. You've discovered who it was then?
Benak. Not just yet. But that is a mission for another time. A time when the whole of Umber is not at stake.
Why didn't you tell me?
I tried.
The whistles.
And the golden canvas.
And the sunken star. That's why you did it. Why you were willing to salt.
Yes. I couldn't leave you. Not again.
Ages. Where do we go from here?
First things first. Continue to address me as Vasco, please. It's stuck.
I understand.
And secondly, I do not see why this has to change anything. I am still in your company. We still search for the tools to save all of Umber. We keep going. That's what we do.
All right. Let's find these artifacts then.
Let's find these artifacts.
Что же, пойдем копать дальше по линии нашего Фея, что он смог вспомнить. Так, это респект. Желтый круг. Да. Но тут ничего нового. Едем к тем.
Hasn't anyone told you it's rude to stare?
Sir, are we really traveling with that thing?
It needs to follow us, so yes.
Does it, understand us?
Perhaps. It certainly isn't stupid.
Right. Well, anyway, where are we going today, sir?
The Assembly, please.
Right away.
Так, желтая девушка с нами. И без хила нам никак, поэтому с нами идет Кальден.
You need to hide.
Comfortable?
Well, we can't have a Fae walking around with us now, can we? Let's go.
Так, давайте мы вас тоже прокачаем, леди. Что здесь есть? Активация метки. Щиты. Это метка огня. Что еще вешает метки? Так, это провокация. Да, метка огня. Активация меток. Реген здоровья. Давайте кредо. Хорошая вещь. Лечит нас, лечит союзников. Давайте лечит себя. Ах, не хватает на повторное применение, ну да ладно. Так, новые чернила. Прекрасно.
Halt!
Good morning, Malleus.
You've got company, is that?
Inspectore Cicero Gavar, yes.
I do not think Va Previo would be too pleased to see you bringing a member of the White Spire in here.
I am here under the orders of the Judge Master. I'm certain the Va will allow this.
On your word, Marshal.
Tiziana?
Hello, Mother.
Mother?
Интересная коляска.
Please sit.
Их пустили с оружием?
Inspectore Gavar, it is surprising to see you here.
I am sorry, but I had not been told that we would be visiting Tiziana's mother.
Does it matter who she is? We need access to the Assemblia, and that is that.
So, that's why you've come. Might I ask what for?
The Misted Isles. We want to see it.
Tiziana, even you understand that
I am here on behalf of the Judge Master. You will take us to see it or have him to answer to.
I can't.
Excuse me?
The Assemblia is occupied.
What in the light is that supposed to mean? Mists. What is happening inside?
The Rediro. They've grown.
Grown?
They're trying to break free.
Prepare yourselves!
For the light!
Так. Уходим со стороны... В сторону Таоя. Дальше. Так, кольцо атмоса на Чичера, кстати. Почему я могу сразу активировать эту маску? Ладно. То есть я могу брать нормальные маски с этой способностью. Потрясающе.
Shades. They're enormous. Va Pravia had gone to the Luca to make a request for assistance. We had hoped to contain them until she returned.
It seems you failed at that.
Isabel, we need to get to the Misted Isles.
I'll get the calendar. Tiziana, guard the door, please, while I determine the course we should take.
Calden, assist me.
Isabel, you and Tiziana.
She blames me for her father's death.
Zane, from what I know, he died of an illness.
10 years ago, while I was on a ruin raid with the Altus, there was an accident. I fell into a coma for 2 years, during which Zane tirelessly cared for me.
He stretched himself thin.
Too thin. He started falling ill. One night, just a month before I emerged from the depths of the coma, he did not wake to the morning sun. Tiziana thinks that if I had been stronger, if I had been able to protect myself, he would still be alive.
It was an accident.
Born of incompetence.
And she said this to you? That she blames you?
I'm certain she's spoken much about Zane. Is it any wonder that you have never heard of me?
I had thought that perhaps you might have...
Being dead, sometimes it feels like I might as well be to her. Here, the 57th route. I can take us through it.
Isabel, perhaps if you tried speaking to her...
I have. You think it is easy for me to live with the knowledge that my daughter hates me. On the rare occasion that she comes and visits, I reach out, but I always get burned.
But you keep trying.
Can I ever stop? She is my daughter, Cicero. And if words will not convince her, then perhaps action will.
What do you mean?
We should get back to them. Let us go. I know the route to take.
Us? You will only slow us down. Tell me which route it is, I can take them through it.
I am capable of taking care of myself.
You are not!
Marshal!
Stay out of this, Inspectore. Tell us how to get through. You are witness. If she slows us down, do not say I didn't try to stop her.
Marshal, she is your mother.
Does that excuse her from her folly?
Tiziana.
Where is this coming from?
What?
You! Poking your nose where it doesn't belong. What's between me and my mother is between us alone. We have gotten by for years without your help, and we will continue to do so. Now, if we are done...
Yes.
Да, ну и семейка. Где вот матушка.
It is this way.
А быстро она едет. Ничего не скажешь.
What is that?
It's a bell station. We use them to call the Rediro to us. Ever since they've gone berserk, they've been swarming these things.
They're just going to keep coming unless we destroy them.
Isabel.
We do what we need to. I understand.
Let's go. Ready yourselves!
Акс. Да, впечатляет, конечно, скорость активации масок с этим талантом, с этим навыком. Так, а можно сюда сходить? Не понял вас, погодите-ка.
The other way, Inspector. Inspector, it is the other way.
Я думал, у нас изначально идут направо. Ну ладно. Так, здесь и здесь что?
Wrong way, Inspector.
Ну мало ли, что с того.
Rough times coming.
Да, тут можно любую маску ставить, в принципе.
We're making good progress.
Let's just keep going.
Продолжаем движение. Впечатляющие руинки, конечно.
The other way, Inspector.
Но это уж я решу, Азр или не Азр. Такая библиотека, столько книг, столько знаний.
Justice will blind you.
Метки стихии активируются потихонечку. Решение. Отлично. Готово. больше ничего нет. Катсцена. Что происходит? Что-то снизу едет. И... По-моему, это баг. Самое начало подземелья. Ладно.
It's a bit just
Isabel,
we do what
let's go.
I've got your backs.
Так, ладно, идем дальше.
Inspectori, it is the other way.
Продолжаем двигаться. Здесь нет символа катсцены с часами.
We're making good progress.
Let's just keep going.
Продолжаем идти.
The other way, Inspectori.
Инспектор знает, кто идет. Он ищет все сегменты с информацией. Сказать по правде, лучше бы он искал сон, но ладно. Вот теперь все сработало. Прекрасно.
Brace yourself.
Да, я могу существенно более дорогие маски так активировать. А нет, здесь ничего нет.
I'm fine.
This is why I told you not to follow.
Do not speak to me this way. I am not useless.
Look at your arm, your legs.
What must I do to prove myself to you?
This is pathetic, Mother. You are weak. Face it.
I am not.
You're never going to be able to bring him back. Now mend yourself.
Вот это очень слабая арка. Я не хочу решать подростковые проблемы.
I don't want to hear it.
You blame her for your father's death.
We are wasting time.
She made a mistake.
So she should pay for it. That is the Luca way.
That is the coward's way.
How dare you?
You say your father inspired you, then act like it.
What?
Your father loved your mother despite her weakness. He died following his heart, not his duty.
He died because she was weak.
No! He died because he loved her. And you are spurning that because you are weak. You don't have it in you to forgive her, so you run. You hide behind your empty platitudes and hollow justices. But guess what? You can't run forever. We all make mistakes. Hold on to them long enough and just you watch what you become. Trust me. It's revolting.
I don't think I've ever seen you more honest.
You need to learn to let go. It's hard, damn it, I know. What you're doing to her, to yourself, it's not worth it.
My father was one of the best judges.
Your father was more than the Luca. And you can be too.
If he was still alive, I have a feeling the two of you would have gotten along very well.
Part of him still is.
Perhaps.
Isabel!
Mother! Get away from her! The Misted Isles. That must be where it's taking her. Cicero, you were with my mother when she found the route.
57.
I know the way. We're almost at the end.
По-моему, 75-й. Какая шикарная технология. Тут ничего нет. Ладно, значит, идем в эту дверь. Они на нас нападут? По-моему, пока нет. пока все хорошо. Кстати, у меня такое ощущение, что картинки с масками привязаны к какому-то пути. На локальной файловой системе. Потому что просто копирование сейвов, оно, видимо, не работает. Так. Поджигаем. Так. Глушим. А, метки воды здесь нет, ладно. А я уж хорошо прожигают. Так, оплот еще не установился. Кольцо на... Ладно, Тициану, допустим. Босс убежал. Похоже на то. Бить колонну нельзя. Нельзя. Осторожно. Стена воды. Так, у тебя здесь защитная аура. Давайте, давай ты отбежишь. Тициану подлечим.
It's on the other island. The right, Cicero.
Вот это прямо интересный бой. Так, трешечку. Глушили. Разбираем столб. Мне уже 35% здоровья. Осторожно, волна. Много волн.
To the left.
80%. Такс. Бьем колонну. Еще вам бы не стоять в ёшке. Семь процентов. 24. Полечи себе, пожалуйста. И мы победили. И вот это был интересный бой. Был бы он сложнее, я бы не таким сонным, был бы еще лучше. Но и так неплохо.
Mother! Oh, my darling. Thank you.
Are you all right?
I will be.
I've got her, Cicero. You should... By the light. You should look around.
Дождь.
It's beautiful.
Attend to why we came. I'll be here.
Так, нас теперь двое. Еще одна чистая мастерина. Чернила. Нет, гравировка. И это кусок данных в мире.
This is the one?
Yes.
It's barely hanging together.
What's it saying?
It seems flustered. I'm not sure if... Damn it!
Did it just abandon us?
Охо.
Well, we're going to have to.
Don't do this!
Tiziana?
Judge Master, please.
Move aside, Marshal.
What is going on?
Our inquisitive hound.
Tiziana?
I'm sorry.
You told him about the Assemblia. About why we were here.
Yes, she did. To find out where these artifacts that I've been hearing so much about are. So, Inspectori, care to share?
These artifacts are involved in things you don't understand. I need them.
What you need, Inspectori, is to tell me where they are.
Why are you doing this?
Too long the city has been ruled by incompetence. It needs a leader that can fight, that has the strength to do what is necessary for the good of the city, not a weakling who poisons it with his age and frailty.
And you're mad enough to believe that's you?
Imagine how much safer, how much more orderly the city would be if it adopted the bright chorus's compass.
The Luca don't even sing them anymore.
You can't have them.
What? You have spent too long in his company. He's darkened your eyes.
He has shown me the truth.
You are a marshal of the Luca Infinita. Your father would...
My father would have spat upon this guild.
Blasphemous!
Look at us, Fabio. We wear suits of gold, but where do our hearts lie? We're not supposed to fight to banish the weak. We are supposed to fight for them.
The weak will take us down with them.
We are supposed to lift them up. Be the eyes of the blind, the tongues of the mute, the ears of the deaf, the swords of the poor. What happened to that?
Enough! I will deal with you later. But you will...
I challenge you.
What?
You believe you can rule this city under your martial thumb?
What are you saying?
Prove it. By your honor and pride, accept my challenge to a duel.
You think you can beat me?
If I do, you will respect the registry, and you will leave us alone. All of us, the Marshal included.
And if I win, you will tell me everything there is to know about the artifacts.
Cicero...
Fair.
Oops.
When you're ready.
May the best man win.
Ready yourself.
Так, он один. Так, где Фавса? Мне на самом деле другую маскирину взять, более эффективную. Неприятно. Так, давайте-ка я маскирину поменяю. Больше урона, метеориты. А, не могу, ладно. Давайте я буду бегать от тебя. Так, я бегаю. Я сдаю напарников. Он бежит за мной. Ну пусть бежит. Огонь, еще огонь. Подбегаем. Самоним. Подбегаем. Активируем метку. Жжем. Его очень хорошо пробивает. Еще разочек активируем метку. Готово. Честно и красиво.
Enough! You have won.
And our deal?
I will honor my word. You fight well.
As do
А то он не знал.
We leave.
Всего 1 очко опыта за это, ну, не знаю. Маловато будет. Он сильный противник. И драться пришлось с усердием. За это 1 очко. Ну, ладно, в принципе. Мы уже хорошо прокачаны и так.
Cicero, that was
I know.
stupid!
What?
You could have been killed!
Well, whatever it is, I have bad news.
About what your Fae wanted to show us.
About the Fae itself. It's run off.
Ah, by the light, Inspectore! I told you!
I know. We can deal with that later. First, we should get your mother back. Now that that's done, we need to find... Did I miss something?
Not once had I ever thought I'd stand up to the Judge Master like that. I never knew it could feel so good.
We'll see what you're saying once he comes around. Might not be a marshal for very much longer. I didn't think you'd take it that lightly.
I never thought I could either. But the things I'd once held so dear now seem like the trinkets of a fool. A broken compass for a blind heart.
Hold off on the poetry, Marshal. Next thing I know, you'll be turning yourself into a songstress.
Come on, let's see what the others are up to.
There you are.
Then? What's the matter?
It's that creature thing you summoned. Came rushing back into the house not an hour ago.
Is anyone hurt?
No one but the walls. You should have a look.
Ладно, в этом месте мы сделаем паузу. Всем спасибо за просмотр, всем доброй ночи и пока-пока.